Hey, a casual fan, back at it again, and we're going to be talking about this interview I saw on Fight Hype. Shout out to Fight Hype. They were giving an interview to Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman says that Danny Garcia is lucky to be undefeated. Now, let's talk about that. Um, we all know about the controversial victory he has over Lamont Peterson. We all know that, but outside of that supposed victory, we all know that wasn't a victory. He should have lost to Lamont Peterson. But outside of that, I'd say Danny Garcia has won all of his fights pretty convincingly. I mean, I know some people want to mention Mauricio Herrera, but um, I from what I saw, I thought Dan Garcia won the fight. That's just me. You know, people might have different opinions because Dan Garcia looks bruised up. I mean, I take that into account, but not. You know, that isn't everything for me when I'm watching the fight. You know, but we'll always people will disagree, so it's whatever. But for me, what is important about this interview is that it's just nice to see Keith Thurman talking shit again. You know, it's like as soon as he signed on to fight Shawn Porter, it's like the guy just went ghost. You know, no one could find this man. Like he used to be, he was making headlines, and he was on his way to being probably the next cash cow of the 147 division. Everybody was talking to him. You had Teddy Atlas talking about him on ESPN all the time. It's just, you know, he was going to be. He looked like he was going to be the man, and he probably still will be the man if he beats Shawn Porter. But my point is, you know, for a while there, we just haven't heard of Keith Thurman at all. You know, we just haven't heard of anything. So it's nice to see him out and about. You know, talking shit again, talking that cash shit. Because Keith Thurman can talk. You know, I sometimes he talks. I like some of the shit he says, and hopefully. I know he doesn't want to talk shit about Shawn Porter, and I don't blame him. You know, Shawn Porter's a great guy. He's a great personality. So I don't even think it's about fear when it comes to that. It's like, you know, they probably both have mutual respect for each other. They say they grew up together. Well, they know each other since growing up. So I don't blame him for not talking as much shit to Shawn Porter. But hopefully after the fight with Shawn Porter, win or lose, win, loss or draw, he goes back to his, you know, big mouth ways when it comes to dealing with other fighters. You know, I love to see him try to get in the head of like a Kell Brook and see how that would go about. But you know, it's good. It's nice to see Keith Thurman opening his mouth again. I miss this Keith Thurman. Like he was on the way to become my favorite fighter last year, but you know. Then, like I said, he went ghost after. It's like Luis Collazo. He punched him in the gut, and Keith Thurman lost some of his soul. You know, but yeah. But let's get back to Dan Garcia for a moment. Keith Thurman says that he is lucky to be undefeated. I guess that's kind of true. That is kind of true if you're considering what happened with the Lamont Peterson situation. However, me personally, I don't take any credit away from Dan Garcia as a fighter because, again, like Keith Thurman even mentions this. Okay, he does mention this in the interview, but again, you know, look at his resume. You can argue and say that some opponent should have been granted a victory over him. However, look at the resume. The people that he's fought up until now are quality opponents. Okay, I mean. You really got to, if you're gonna call yourself a boxing fan, you have to acknowledge these kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think even though he fought, you know, everybody wants to give him a shit about fighting Rod Soko, but again, look at the last 8 opponents that he fought. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go list them. I mean, he has Lucas Batiste, Lamont Peterson. Robert Guerrero. He says that Robert Guerrero is not a true welterweight, right? And that's a fine thing to say. But again, Keith Thurman fought Robert Guerrero, and in fact he also mentions the fact that he moves up to a welterweight division and he doesn't fight real welterweights. Oh well, I personally think that's the right way to bring someone along into a new division. That's just me personally. I mean, Dan Garcia goes into a welterweight division. What's wrong with him fighting a few tune-up fights before he gets into the creme de la creme? All right. So fighting Paulie Malignaggi and then fighting Robert Guerrero, I think that's perfectly fine. That's a nice way to move along and easier move your way into you know some big elite welterweights. And so I think Dan Garcia, career-wise, is moving along in the right path. I'm fine with him. I'm fine with his. He's like slowly been escalating in the level of opposition. The next, they're talking about the next fight being against Andre Berto. That is something I would love to see. I'd love to see that fight, and I think I might talk about that in the next video. But anyway, those are my thoughts on what Keith Thurman said. Again, it's nice to see Keith Thurman out and about talking shit again. I missed this Keith Thurman. Yeah, that's it. So again, you guys know I'm not an expert on the sport, but like I always say, you don't have to be an expert to give your opinion on something. So please tune in again to Casual Fan, and I'm out.